You want to talk about a sleeper build? What's up, guys? I'm Hunter, and here we want to do a breakdown / review of chapter 414 of My Hero Academia, which is known as Overlay. And I'm not gonna lie, this chapter has some stuff I really like, and that's mostly it. Like, notably, a lot of the issues, quote-unquote, I have with this chapter are basically stuff I've complained about extensively before, so I will not complain about them again. And honestly, I've slowly come around to not complaining anymore and just being genuinely intrigued to where it's going. So I'm very excited. Let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into this review. Editing me. Ready. 3, 2, 1, go. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do happen to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, Midoriya Izuku has it in him and keeps it in him at all. I don't know how to say this one without making it seem a little bit strange, if you know what I'm talking. Like, but he does. I guess he does have it on him and in him, and yeah, it's still just gonna be weird. But this chapter. It does open up pretty hilariously to me, but of course it's sad hilarious, because we open up and we see as Midoriya begins to load up them claws with some energy. And I do love how he's drawn here. Notably, I've been seeing a lot of mixed reactions to this design, and my reaction was mixed too at first. Let me not just say I've been seeing. I did have a mixed reaction to this design at first, but like, it is slowly but surely growing on me the more and more I see it. I'm genuinely coming to appreciate it because of how cool it looks. Someone pointed out to me that it may be inspired by Venom to kind of like flip the whole Spider-Man. Like, ever since he got Danger Sense, but realistically as soon as he got Black Whip and how he started to use Black Whip, a lot of people were calling out the Spider-Man comparisons. And to see Hori, if not, like, once again, I don't know, Hori's a huge comic fan. The only like direct thing that he completely admits he never heard of and just ended up being like an accidental parallel was the whole Zuko and Todoroki comparison. Like, that was a complete accident. That is Hori's own admission. He didn't know an Avatar from The Last Airbender, which makes sense. Avatar is a American produced show, so it makes sense that he didn't know about it and like ideas overlap. Like, that's happened all the time in human history. I genuinely believe Hori on that one. A lot of people say Hori just ripped off Zuko, but if you look at Todoroki and you look at Zuko, those stories are nowhere near the same. They just have like very loose structural overlays. Very loose. But I do admit, ever since I've seen the Venom comparison, I kind of like it. I think that inadvertently made me like the form even more, even though it still is very loosely Venom inspired. It's mainly like the claws and the deep black of Black Whip coming out like the symbiote tendrils. And of course, you know, Spider-Man 2 coming out recently probably leveled up a lot of people's awareness for something like this. And who knows, maybe even Hori's own awareness when designing this, but also the black mask especially. It's a very chaotic design that has a lot going on, which of course has me fearing for them Bones animators, dog. Like, I hope, we always talk about Mappa, I hope the Bones animators get to see their families, dog. Cause like, how do you even animate this? This is insane. And thinking about it, it's gonna be weird like, they can't adapt the Full War, because the Full War isn't over. When is season 7? I think it's 7. I don't watch the anime, I will readily admit, for a multitude of reasons, but in general, I just don't watch anime. But I'm genuinely wondering where they're gonna end the anime's adaptation of the Second War, because they can't finish it. They can't. They can. I say that confidently, but with a raised eyebrow, because I don't actually know. But let's say, the reason I say it opens up kind of funny, off the Venom / Midoriya design, off all that, is because Hori, I guess due to like the nature of the spontaneous 3-week break, is like, just in case you forgot, after a recap of the last chapters, defeating Shigaraki will bring an end to this war. Which it won't. I'll mention it here now, so I don't have to mention it later. We still have not wrapped, unless I missed it. Someone can tell me if I missed it. We have not wrapped up the Aizawa, Present Mike, and Kurogiri plotline. We have not wrapped that up. I always joke about Hori occasionally forgetting things, and just mangaka in general forgetting things, and heck, I don't blame them. It's a very long-running story. You have a lot of moving pieces, but that's like a major thing that still needs to happen. We've wrapped up every other plotline, that's true. We wrapped up All for One. We wrapped up Araraka and Toga. We've wrapped up Todoroki and Dabi and that entire family. Diabolical. Not diabolical. That debacle. We've wrapped up Spinner and Shoji. We wrapped up a whole bunch of stuff. But that Aizawa plotline is still open, so I'm interested if we're even going to tackle that, because we're getting deep into this. I keep saying we're going to cut, but I don't know, I'm not sure. But with that being the case, that aside, I get it, in the general sense that, yeah, like, Kurogiri's a monster, but, like, if just Shigaraki, it's say, the war is basically over. But we see, when faced with his overpowering decay and regeneration, Deku can't hold a match, which is a lie. Like, this is one line that kind of does grind my gears a little bit. Like, we see numerous times that Midoriya is fully capable of executing Shigaraki right now, if he really feels like it. In this very chapter, it's entirely likely that Midoriya could piece Shigaraki. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds blasphemous. But remember when he arm right off. Could have been his head. Could have been his head, that's all I'm saying. Later on in this chapter, he's going to deliver a beastly punch. Faster than Shigaraki can activate his subconscious biological defense system. And he does crazy amounts of damage that cause a whole tweak session. So, like, I think that line is a little bit of a lie, but it'd be like that sometimes. But we see the second user proposed a hit-or-miss gambit, transferring one for all to Shigaraki, causing a mental strike. Will Deku be able to let go of this generational power? I'm assuming what it means by generational power is, like, the quirk individually, because, like, we've long since established he's not actually giving up one for all. Like he's not. He's giving up the quirks and the vestiges inside of one for all, but he's not actually giving up one for all. Like, he's keeping the power. Of course, the powers are the power, but the power's not leaving, if you know what I'm saying. I know I'm making this sound as obtuse and stupid as possible, but hey, it's basically how it's explained. He's getting rid of, if I keep going back to the cup situation, the drink has already been poured in the cup. Essentially, by throwing the quirk at Shigaraki, he's getting rid of the garnishes that would go on the rim of the cup. The salts around the cup, the rim of the cup, that's getting thrown away. Not actually the cup, nor the contents within the cup. The power is still there. But so, an interesting open narration box. I'm interested to see how that gets translated in the officials. But of course, we see that Deku is acting weirdly. And we see that Danjiro is like, this kid's a demon. He's using Black Whip to move his own exhausted body. This guy must be tweaking. And we see that N is like, oh my sweet mother of mercy, he is tweaking. Right into action after hearing the plan. And what a way to use the quirk. But of course, the second user, I completely forget his name. I'm just going to call him a second. Bakugo. I'm going to call him Bakugo. Bakugo says, he's doing great. Honestly. He's really, really himothy. He doesn't just follow orders. The way he admires each and every quirk makes all for one shine. Not all for one. I keep mixing those up. Makes one for all shine much brighter. And one parallel I really like is the Dark Hero parallel, right? And it's dark in the sense that Midoriya's actions aren't really dark. I mean, of course, he's going to spend the rest of this chapter trying to forcefully transfer a quirk against Shigaraki's will. So, of course, it is a teeny tiny bit dark. But what I mean is the Dark Hero aesthetic in the sense that Midoriya is cloaked in this shadow, this shade, this black whip, this negativity, a venom, if you will. And Shigaraki, if anything, he's liberated. He's free. Pure, open and free, white hair flowing in the wind. He looks almost majestic, but he's the greatest villain in all of history. And you have Midoriya Izuku, the only true hero in My Hero Academia. I say that definitively, in the sense that if you count true heroism as kind of the well, even then, legally speaking, Midoriya is more of a true hero than even Batman. Because Batman in Final Crisis was like, bang, Darkseid. He's like, it's you or the multiverse, and I'm choosing you, bucko. So even Batman, under the right circumstances, and this is after retcon, by the way. This isn't like, obviously, Batman in his early years was looking everywhere. But like, Batman was like, hey, bucko, if it's you or me, and it's not going to be me, and it's not going to be the multiverse, bucko. He let it loose. Shigaraki, on a much smaller scale, is threatening the same thing to the entire human race. And Midoriya, the only true hero, is the one fighting against that, going against it, going full sail, full stop to try and defeat Big Rocky in the way that he can. This specific way while saving him. Even All Might, the inspiration for Midoriya, did not do that. He did not try to save All For One. In fact, I do kind of wish we could get Midoriya's opinion on All For One and whether or not he should have been saved too. But like would Midoriya have executed All For One, or we would just put him back in jail? I don't know. Will you ever try to save him in the same way that Shigaraki did? We'll never know. But essentially, I like how that path, which many people, heroes especially, have been like, dude, that's stupid, that's dumb, you should drop, bro. Dude, that's stupid, that's not, you should drop. Like, they've been saying it over and over and over again. Like, Midoriya, this is dumb, this is stupid. You have the chance to get rid of this threat to all of humanity, you should get rid of this threat to all of humanity. He's walking down what many who walk the path of light have called a path of darkness. And while it is innately heroic in the sense that he's respecting the sanctity of life, the darkness that comes with such a dangerous and devious path is ever clear and ever illuminated upon the flesh of Midoriya Izuku. And I really like that. Good stuff, quality stuff, scrumdiddlyumptious stuff, if you will. I'm really liking it. But of course, we see Midoriya Izuku realizing that, I'm gonna need to tweak out. And he admits, I'll need to match Shigaraki's speed without Gearshift's help, and then transfer the second to him. I have no choice but to bet on it. This is a nice little layup. It's like throwing up. It's throwing up for a later slam dunk. But remember this. Though this, I will admit, it goes back to this statement here. The statement made on the first page. He doesn't have a hope to match Shigaraki. Shigaraki's superior. Shigaraki's above. I know, this is going to be the power scaler in me speaking. It's not the case. I don't know. I feel like Shigaraki, despite simultaneously being hyped up as this calamity, this beast of destruction, this thing that'll wipe out creation with its own two hands, like, we've been slobbering all over Big Rocky. He's been kind of booty. Like, at least in the sense that he's struggling to beat an Omega fatigued 15-year-old who can't even move. And I'm supposed to believe this guy's the god of destruction? Like, I don't know. I'm just not really seeing the vision on Big Rocky. And especially considering how easily he does end up tagging... Well, not easily. It still is pretty complex how he ends up tagging him. But considering the fact that he claims he can't keep up, and he supposedly was only keeping up before with Gear Shift, which gives him a massive amp, and what he does in this very chapter without Gear Shift, I don't know. It's the negative effect. It's the unfortunate byproduct of having your hero needing to beat the villain, yet having the villain be really, really powerful, so it feels like the hero's overcoming a big obstacle, unless you play it in very particular ways, which is very hard to do. I'm not even saying it's easy. I'm not even blaming Hori for this. I'm just bringing it up because it's something I've noticed, and it doesn't really bother me because I'm used to it with Hori, but it's something I've noticed. It's hard to believe what is said by characters in the narrative when the plot is showing me something different. You cannot try to power scale with statements and say Shigaraki is this monster, this beast, this demon, and then have him get tagged, beat up, knocked around. Like it's just not the case. I'm sorry, you can't have both, Hori. You can't have both. But of course, we see that Midoriya says, for one for all to get transferred, the user has to willingly give someone their DNA. Doesn't really matter how long as you get my DNA. Midoriya-kun. And no, I'm sorry, I would never do All Might like that. But I know some people would want to do All Might like that. But we see, one for all can only transfer if its user wills it to. It can be given to an unwilling recipient. So you can force inject somebody with one for all. The conversation behind one for all is really, really weird. But it allows for this. As we see that the second says, me and Bruce theorized about this, and even tested. I'm nostalgic. We're still bound to this mission. Even after the end. So, Bruce is what I presume is the second user, and I'm going to look up his name. I don't know why his name is escaping me. What is the second user's? I'm going to be mad when it pops up on the Googler, and I immediately remember it, and I'm going to be, or not, or maybe my Googler is going to be like, no, you don't remember, you don't deserve it. Second user, one for all, gosh darn it, because I'm genuinely blanking, and that embarrasses me. I know it's been like darn near a month, but second user, one for all.
Give it to me. Show me who the second user is.
Kudo. Yep. So Kudo and Bruce, they were practicing injecting each other with one for all. You know, it just sounds, once again, Hori, and 9 out of 10 times I'm sure it's accidental. I never will, I mean, I'll do it as a joke, but I'll never, throw accusations at Hori seriously. I'll never be like, oh, Hori, look at you trying to be intentionally problematic. Hori's never intentionally problematic. I think he's just accidentally problematic. This is accidentally funny. Oh, me and Bruce theorized about this. Even tested. How are you testing? What kind of DNA were y'all transferring back and forth? Y'all just nibbling on each other's hair? Drinking each other's sweat? licking each other. Well, with that being the case, we see that Midoriya decides, I'll drop my own juice into his wounds. I'll stick it inside him while he's not paying attention. That's not on the text, but he might as well be saying that. As we see that Midoriya realizes, but Shigaraki keeps healing himself, so he has no wounds. I'll have to spread him open by force. See how weird this sounds? I'm probably just making it weird. I'm making it weird, but like, I'm not leaping too far. I'm not going, like, I swear I'm not reaching into the heavens and pulling out some crazy thing. I swear. But, with it being the case, we see Midoriya says, I'll have to do it right when I strike. I'm about to pass out due to the recoil. I can't make that joke. But I can't afford to miss. This won't miss. However, we do get to see that Big Rocky's like, that attack just now felt weird. So I cut off my own hand before he could hit me. So, I'm a little bit... I don't remember when this is. I'm not even going to pretend that I do. And I don't think it matters enough because he gets hit anyway. So, I'll be completely real. I don't think it matters. So, we see that Shigaraki does acknowledge that he's planning something. His body's overtaken by pain. It's hard to breathe. Anyone in their right mind would be focusing on protecting their own life. Anyone in their right mind, huh? And you can see... Even just having Shinomori transferred... Why do I remember Shinomori's name so easily, but I forgot Kudos? But I guess... No, Shinomori hasn't been... Well, I guess, yeah, Shinomori has been active longer. So, we see that Shigaraki's already low-key starting to break. Like it's built... Like, I'll appreciate this once he's saved. Even more than I appreciate it now. You can see Hori drizzling in. Little Salt Bay, he drizzling it in. The idea that Shigaraki already is having the potential to change, right? Because he's starting to connect with Midoriya, right? Because he's a person who believes he's out of his own right mind. And he sees Midoriya, another person presumably out of their own right mind. And he's like,
I see you, big brain boy. I see you, Midoriya Izuku. I can understand your mania.
So, like, he's slowly... He's getting there. He ain't there yet. I'll fully admit that. But he's getting there. And we see that... He's like, might as well lock in then. So be it. I'll just keep destroying. I'll make the whole world spread it for me. You, this country, this planet, everything. And he immediately goes in for the dive. Once again, note this. This man who's supposedly too fast, too strong, too crazy, too next level for Midoriya to ever hope to keep up with, especially without Gear Shift, where he explicitly got tagged and robbed of Shinomori-san before, when Danger Sense was active. Remember that? Remember how he supposedly should be so slow? Somehow before Shigaraki can reach the ground, Midoriya, who's anchored into the ground, by the way, look at these black whip tendrils. He's currently anchored straight into the earth. I will transfer it, slaughter you. Somehow Midoriya spits up, and I don't know, I don't think it's actually spit, but like it genuinely looks like he just loogies up a whole, like, look at this. Tell me this don't look like bro's hawking a loogie. It genuinely looks like bro went a smoke screen right on up, and ends like, is this guy insane? Why? My smoke screen is the least useful. But we see Shigaraki, he falls right for it. He goes for it anyway. Says, if I activate my decay, any plan will be for naught. You'll fail to protect... Yeah. So initially in the live reaction over on Patreon, which you can check out for as low as $1 a month, or become a member for as low as $3 a month to check out. It is around 50 minutes long. We see, or at least I thought Midoriya did this on the fly. Nah, he had planned this, which is still good. I initially didn't like that he planned it, but I do like that he planned it. As Shigaraki realizes, he tore out a chunk of the ground to prevent the spreading. But when he was... Oh, wait. Once again, I moved it too far. When he was sent flying back then, he sent the black chains underground to tear out parts of the ground. He was just waiting to use it. So, essentially, he's pre-shattered the ground. Meaning, as long as he lifts it, as long as he has the chain still connected, he's going to be able to throw up any piece of earth that Shigaraki begins to decay, essentially nullifying its effectiveness. And that's this whole area. So... Smart plays. Once again, I like how Midoriya's big brain is finally seemingly being used as an active part of the narrative. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Early series Midoriya, he's not that big brain. He's just not. I don't know. At least in my opinion, he's not that giga fat, juicy brain, crazy next level protagonist that everyone in the narrative and some people outside the narrative gas him up to be. He's just a regular dude for the most part at the start, which makes sense for his quirk power, but I'm talking about brain wise. He just seems average. But with plays like this, the prep like this, using the prep so well, even when getting knocked down and beaten away, good stuff. Good quality stuff. And we see that ultimately, Big Rocky, he's forced to lunge out when something comes for him, and he grabs it, but it's just Gran Torino's cape. And we see that N even realizes, wait a minute, the same decoy he used against that sniper? And that's crazy. But, of course, unlike with the sniper, Shigaraki grabs it and decays Gran Torino. Which, once again, I do think is low-key a symbolic thing, like decaying all of Midoriya's connections to the ideologies and paths of the old world. Because remember, one of the biggest people, and one of the biggest things that people kept telling me, because I still remember when I was heavy in my Midoriya should just execute Shigaraki because Shigaraki's a threat to the entire planet. When I was heavy on that, I've softened up. I still think he's too dangerous to be kept alive. Like, that's still generally my thought process, but I've calmed down on it, because I don't think it's that deep. It's not that serious. So, one of my biggest things that people kept throwing at me was, well, Gran Torino said saving somebody can be by executing them. So Midoriya totally agrees with that, and he's going to do the same with Shigaraki. Clearly not. I'm happy to be right on that. W me. But with that being the case, we see Shigaraki destroys that. I think that is meant to be not just he destroyed the decoy so it can't be used again, but also the symbolic idea that, hey, anything that happened in the past, those people from the past, those who were partially responsible, if not flat out responsible, for the monster that Shigaraki is today. Because remember, it was Gran Torino and Nana collectively who decided to put Shigaraki's father up for adoption, which led to Shigaraki walking down the path. That darn house was born because of Gran Torino's choice. So the destruction of his cape, the destruction of what appears to be the final bonds that have tied Midoriya to those people and that ideology, destroyed. I like that. Once again, this show does good stuff. Real good stuff. And we see that Search has a little glitch in it. As we notice, or Shigaraki notices, but Search's light showed that he was here. Wait a minute. Juice? Search reacted to the juice? Wait a second. That light's not Midoriya's. So, where is he? Oh, I get it. So we see that Midoriya ended up leaving the vestige of Gearshift, Kudo himself, in just a few droplets of his own juice. So Shigaraki would be forced to recognize the juice as Search, as Midoriya points out way back when. I have no choice but to bet on it. This man's giga braiding. As Midoriya Izuku comes out of nowhere, born from the smoke and shadow, encrusted in the glowing black blaze. And we see Midoriya says, Search reacts to anything when the user lays eyes on. So I gambled. I can see you there, ghosts, on the chance I'd be able to react, that he'd be able to react. On the chance it'd react to the users too. And plus, my DNA is filled with the second user's vestige. By blocking his field of vision with the bright light of Search, I created an opening. I used that fact that he's seeing me against him, and Smokescreen allowed me to go for a delayed surprise attack. So this is how Midoriya overcomes the speed gap between him and Shigaraki. Once again, I do kind of think the speed gap is kind of nonsense, but hey, in order for him to overcome it, and in order for him to use his brain this well, that's some good stuff right there. And we see that Anne is like, oh, he's glazing me. He's using me better than I could ever use me. He's so amazing. And he is still very amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, Midoriya's finally big brain. And we see that Shigaraki, once again, he's acknowledged that, wait a minute, these attacks are weird. What's going on here? So he immediately goes to armor himself up, to bulk himself up to be defensively ready for any Midoriya's onslaught. But unfortunately, the defense is 1, autonomous, and 2, he's literally getting outsped here, which is funny, but he's literally not able to react in time. So Midoriya lunges in, screaming, and slams his fist straight into Shigaraki. This is the buffest panel of both of these two. Hori he studied a little bit of anatomy for the week. I was like, you know what, I gotta incorporate this. And look at this. Once again, Mr. All-Powerful and Almighty completely whiffs on Midoriya. Midoriya dodged, obviously. And fires out a laser beam that whiffs, and boom. Actually, no, it doesn't whiff. It doesn't whiff. Or at least, maybe part of it whiffs, because we see that Midoriya does take damage, though it looks like he avoided it entirely. But this injection is successful. And we see that Kudo straight up tells Midoriya, don't worry about it. I've always been just a ghost. My consciousness is fading away. So, before I get absorbed by Shigaraki, boom! He slams straight into Shigaraki's core, that big ball of hatred. Once again, trying to dig out, not Tomura, Tenko Shimura, digging the biggest shovel he can, is digging and digging and digging. And it does decent damage in the astral world and the spiritual world. And I do like how the 2 points of impact line up in this panel. Beautiful work by Ori. And we see that Shigaraki begins to genuinely tweak out, as Midoriya Izuku also begins to genuinely tweak out, as they both begin seeing memories of a time long past. In person, you're super gross, says the nastiest man in the series. Dabi, you look. But with it being the case, we see Toga also says, right? Oh my gosh, right? This hands guy is Mr. Staney's friend. I want to join too. Your league of villains. Funny, she's gone. He's a torso. It's crazy. And another guy who's going to show up is in jail, or at least like subdued. But we see Midoriya, he's like looking at this. Like they appear massive. This is a peer into the past. And Midoriya's like, huh? Like look at the dichotomy. Get yourself a man who can do both. Look at this. Or to immediately go to this. He still has soft boy energy. Don't worry, Midoriya fans. He still has your soft boy energy. And we see that it's not just the massive vestiges of Dabi and Toga here that greet Midoriya in this realm of dreams and past and reality, but even friends. Friends long gone by in their own battles. But I want to be a hero too! And we see that Midoriya isn't just reflecting on this, literally seemingly physically being injected into the moment, which is interesting. But even Spinner shows up and says, I'm only here because Stain inspired me to take action. And we see that Midoriya questions, the sport festival? My fight against Todoroki-gun. Spinner, what's going on? Am I tweaking? And Yoichi himself says, oh, your memories are blending together? And notably, while that confusion is raised due to likely the interconnection of Shigaraki and Midoriya, he's given the command. Ninth, don't stop! The 6, it's working! The second one did it, but it's still not enough. And you see Shigaraki once again beginning to genuinely tweak out. And Midoriya is told, you have to keep going. So, WW chapter. Once again, I do think this is just more weird quirk magic stuff, but I'm not going to expect an explanation. I'm going to accept it, and the idea of memories being fundamentally tied into quirks has been a long-held faction, or, yeah, it's been a long-held part of the series, so I don't even think this is any sort of nonsense. I just think it's neat, and I'm interested to see what memories we uncover next, because these are some big moments from both of these characters' lives, and I assume we're going to get to, like, war arc stuff for their initial discussion, and I'm very, very excited for that. So, if you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave gains. Like, literally just gains. Because, God, I still can't get over the fact that bro was looking this buff. God, he's looking like 5 of me. But leave gains in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month. Things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Some of those perks will include the 15-minute live reaction to this very chapter, along with ad-free variations of all my videos. And if you become a $25 patron or $25 member, you can order any video you want. Now, thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Dag with the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, Red Wolf, 4765, Greyhound, and Atkins Void. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $5 patrons, Victor, Sean, RNG Master, Midnight Lord 21, Kevin, Igneal, and Demix LNT. And I'd like to give another thank you to our $7 members, Autumn Mornings Lazo, Sick Addiction, and Jan Tomas. I'd like to give another thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha and Joaquin. I'd like to give another thank you to our $25 member, Alex Ice Rose. I'd like to give a hefty thank you to our $25 patron, Winter. I'd like to give another gargantuan thank you to our $25 patron, Steron. I'd like to give another humongous thank you to our $25 patron, EHAC1. I'd like to give another scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our $25 patron, ChinaDoll09. I'd like to give a final and gargantuan thank you to our final $25 member, Calvin Elder.